You know how sometimes you get a manual that's so complicated you feel like you need a manual for the manual. It happens all the time. But what if a text, especially a sacred one, actually came with its own user guide built right in? A key to unlocking its own deepest meanings. Well, the text we're diving into today does exactly that. So let's see how. So that's the big question, right? How does a sacred text teach you how to read it? We're going to explore this by looking at the very first verses of the Quran's third chapter, Surah Al-Imran. And what's amazing is that it lays out a roadmap for its own interpretation. It's a pretty incredible look at the nature of revelation itself. Okay, so before we can even begin to understand the message, the Quran basically says, hold on. First, you need to understand the one who sent the message. This first part is all about grounding us in the absolute, unshakable source of the revelation. The chapter kicks off with these three letters, Alif, Lam, Mim. Now, several chapters in the Quran start this way, with what are known as the huruf al-muqatta'a. While their exact meaning is a mystery, scholars have pondered for centuries, their effect is pretty clear. It's like a reset button for your mind. It signals that what you're about to hear is not ordinary human speech. It's a call to really, truly focus. And boom, right after getting our complete attention, the Quran lays down the absolute bedrock of its entire message. This is Tawhid, the oneness of God. He is Al-Hayy, the ever-living source of all life, and Al-Qayyum, the self-sustaining, the one on whom every single thing in existence depends. This is the foundation. It doesn't get more fundamental than this. And this description of God, it's not a one-off thing. It's a constant, powerful theme. In fact, this exact description shows up in one of the most famous verses in the entire Quran, Ayat al-Kursi, the verse of the throne. That's no accident. It's a deliberate echo, reinforcing just how central and unchanging these attributes of God are. All right, so the source is established, solid, unshakable. Now, the Quran does something really interesting. It places itself in historical context. It doesn't show up claiming to be something totally brand new, but as the next critical link in a long chain of divine communication. And this is absolutely crucial. The Quran isn't presented as something that cancels out the past. Instead, it's a tasdeeq, a confirmation of the core truths that were already there in earlier revelations, like the Torah and the Gospel. The message here is one of continuity, not of contradiction. And then we get this powerful new term, a new name that describes the Quran's function. Al-Furqan. You could almost say this is its job description. This word, Al-Furqan, is a game changer. It means the criterion, the ultimate standard, the thing you use to tell the difference between what's true and what's false. So the Quran is positioning itself as the definitive measure, the final filter through which all other ideas and claims about truth should be passed. And now we get to the very heart of it all. Having established its divine source and its role as the ultimate criterion, the Quran is about to hand us the key to its own lock. This is where it explicitly teaches us how to read it. But right before it gives us that key, it gives us some perspective. It reminds us of the sheer scale of God's knowledge. From the vastness of the cosmos down to the most intimate microscopic detail of life forming in the womb, He is aware of it all. Now, this isn't just about power. It's about authorship. The text is saying, the one who designed the universe also designed this book with the same profound wisdom. And there it is, the master key to Quranic interpretation. The book, it says, contains two distinct types of verses. First, you have the Muhkam. These are the foundational, crystal-clear verses. And then you have the Mutashabih, the ones that are more allegorical, symbolic, and multi-layered. The best way to think about this is like a magnificent building. The Muhkam verses, they're the load-bearing pillars. They're strong, direct, and unambiguous. They hold the whole structure up. These are the core beliefs, the essential laws. Then you have the Mutashabih verses. Think of those as the intricate carvings on the walls or the beautiful stained glass windows. They add depth, beauty, and they invite you to reflect and ponder. But you would never, ever mistake a beautiful window for a pillar that holds up the roof. And no sooner does it explain this structure than it gives a very serious warning. It says that people who have a crookedness in their hearts will intentionally ignore the clear foundational pillars. Instead, they'll obsess over the allegorical verses, trying to twist their meanings to cause arguments or to make the text say whatever they want it to say. It's a direct caution against misusing the book for your own agenda. So, if that's the danger, this temptation to twist meanings and get lost, what's the solution? Well, the Quran doesn't just point out the problem, it immediately gives us the cure. This is the prayer that the firm in knowledge make. You see, after learning the right way to approach the text, their very first instinct isn't intellectual pride, it's humility. They turn to God and ask for protection, not just for their minds, but for their hearts. They know the method, but they also know they need sincerity to apply it correctly. So, what does this all boil down to? It means that, according to this passage, real understanding isn't just an academic game. It's a partnership. It requires both the intellectual rigor to follow the right method and the spiritual sincerity to keep your heart straight and humble, always seeking God's guidance. And finally, this whole incredible lesson, how to read, how to believe, how to pray for guidance, it's all sealed with one last powerful reminder. It's the ultimate context, the answer to the question, why does getting this right matter so much? The passage closes by affirming the day of judgment. Now, this isn't meant to be just a threat. It's a statement of ultimate purpose. It's about accountability. It frames the entire human endeavor of seeking knowledge. In other words, how we choose to read this book, the intentions we carry in our hearts as we do so, and the actions that come from our understanding, all of it matters deeply. This final verse reminds us that this isn't just an intellectual exercise. It has eternal consequences. It's a matter of our ultimate destiny. Which leaves us with this final thought. When you have a text that is built with both unshakable, clear pillars and endless, beautiful avenues for reflection, what does that demand from you, the reader? It seems to call for a balance, to be grounded in the principles yet open to the wonder, to be disciplined in your approach but also spiritually humble. It's a profound challenge, really, for anyone who truly wants to understand.